Happy days for Expos fans are few and far between, but this week brought cause for celebration. Former Expos Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson were both elected to the Hall of Fame on their first ballots. Arguably the team's most talented pitcher of all time, Martinez was the only Expo ever to win a Cy Young. Although he went on to have great success as a Red Sox, including winning a World Series there in 2004, there was no city that loved Martinez like Montreal, and he never forgot that.
I would like to share this with the people in Montreal that are not going to have a team anymore, but my heart and my ring is with them too.
Well, Montreal's always been a city that loves characters, particularly characters who can also pitch. And Pedro Martinez, was that feared guy on the mound. I think we all remember that game where he was pitching a perfect game, plunked Reggie Sanders, and a brawl erupted. But Montrealers loved Pedro because he was such a character and because he had talent, and we got to see 4 of his best years in the city.
Randy Johnson's long and illustrious career began with a brief stint in Montreal. After only 11 games as an Expo, however, Johnson was traded for Mark Langston in what may be remembered as the worst trade in Expos history.
I think Randy Johnson is really interesting to look at when you think of his career as an Expo, because he's kind of the antithesis of what fans expect from the Expos. He was traded in the heat of a pennant race to bring the Expos closer to the playoffs, to get them into the playoffs, but it's an example of when the Expos threw everything in and tried to make it to the World Series.
For the 8th straight year, outfielder Tim Raines failed to garner the needed 75% of the vote to make the Hall. With only 2 years of eligibility left, Rock's window is closing fast.
Tim Raines was by far the best leadoff hitter in the National League in the 80s. He is the National League Rickey Henderson. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't make it in the next 2 years of voting, a Veterans Committee will undoubtedly put him in the Hall of Fame, and he'll go in as an Expo.
The list of remaining Expos who could earn consideration for the Hall of Fame grows shorter every year. But one fan favorite has a serious shot.
A person that could go in with an Expos cap, you got to think of Vladimir Guerrero. Now, the end of his career was not as great as a lot of people believed it should have been, but considering the decade he played in, considering he's regarded as a clean player, not using steroids, he's got a legitimate shot to make it into the Hall of Fame and a legitimate shot to be going in with an Expos cap.